All right, hello, hello. Today we are going to talk about the unsexy side of working out, the stuff everybody always wants to skip, but it is the meat of what you should always be doing. It is one of the most, if not the most important parts of staying strong and healthy long term. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see what I'm gonna be doing. All right, now get this thing out of the way. I'll get it. Okay, here we go. The unsexy part of working out. It's about so much more than the burn most people are chasing. A quick note. Proper form, mobility, core engagement, and strength all play heavily into overall health and living healthy and living life optimally. Think about everything you do on the daily, from getting out of bed to unloading the laundry and carrying the basket to wherever it will live for the next 2 weeks, to carrying your kids or your groceries. Then there are the more demanding and often unexpected movements, like catching yourself as you trip or didn't notice a curb, running after your little one who's headed towards danger, or catching something from falling. All of these things are relatively daily occurrences that require proper body mechanics. If proper body mechanics are ignored, injury in the form of bad knees or a bad back or nagging pains start setting in. We sure as heck don't want that. So let's avoid the situation through proper movement, all right? But it's not hard enough. I need to be kicking my ass in order for it to be working. We live in a culture of the harder, the better. We judge the quality of a workout by how sore it made us. We brag about being sore for days. We train fast and hard, with or without good form, not really knowing what muscles should be working, with minimal warm up and almost no cool down. We get addicted to beat down workouts because they feel productive towards our goal of weight loss or strength gains. Typically, this mindset leads to quick results, followed by plateaus, nagging pains, injury, burnout, and feelings of frustration. Have you ever thought to yourself, this always happens a month or two into working out? My bad knee or my bad back or my bad hip starts acting up and it derails me. Or maybe you've been so consistent with training hard 6 days a week, and for the first month or two, you were seeing really good results. And then suddenly you've stopped seeing results and you're almost starting to see the opposite of the results you were looking for. Or maybe you aren't getting stronger or faster or better at whatever you are after. Like you're practicing hard, but you're not seeing any progress in the way that you want to see progress. All of these things can be so frustrating and unfortunately are super common. Yet, as a society, we still seek out the beat down workouts and are bored with building the foundation. However, the foundation is what will help us avoid all that other crap. So I can say I'd say every single group workout environment that I have been in, that I have either worked out in or that I have coached in, I see this all the time. I hear it from people all the time. They just want workouts to be hard. They want to be sore. They want to be sweating. I would see people in the workout classes that I would teach just doing things and not ever really like connecting the muscles that they were working or having proper form and just moving so quickly just for the sake of moving quickly without ever connecting to those muscles or working mobility or seeing, or feeling the difference that proper movement makes. And in those environments, I would typically see people come in and see quick results, right? But then they would never see results anymore. I would see people sit stagnant for a year looking exactly the same as they looked a year ago and still continuing to do the same beat down workouts because they've got to be working because they're making them sore. But that's just not what it's about, especially as you get a little bit older, as you hit 35, 40, that age, your body, most people's bodies need a different type of training in order to thrive and in order to see good results. And we're going to get into that next week, this different style of training. This week, we're going to focus in on these key foundations that we need to build before we get into the deeper part of the workout. All right, so let's dig in. Let's talk about me, shall we? I will be the first to admit I went from not working out at all. I had no idea what I was doing. I felt totally out of place in a gym until I finally found what was my jam, and I got obsessed. Lucky for me, what I found was a martial art that came with personal training and small, very strict group classes. So even though I got obsessed, I was in an environment that was heavily built on proper form and mobility. Fast forward to me getting into weight training. Again, I got obsessed, but I had a trainer who was heavily into foundational movement and proper form. When I got into running, I did it on my own. I went gung ho. I ran daily. I followed random programs I found online. And I had nagging pains all the time. Man, you know how many shoes I went through when I was a runner? I would be like 2 months. Oh, I'm starting to have pains. I need to get a new pair of shoes. My goodness. Um, I had nagging pains all the time. I improved for a month or two and then I would just plateau and I couldn't seem to push past the plateau no matter how much harder I trained. And then I joined a running club with a coach. And guess what? I learned I was overtraining. I needed cross training. I needed mobility training. I needed to correct some form issues. And then I started getting faster. The foundation is everything, yet we get bored with it and we want to skip it. I can tell you all honestly, I still do dead bugs, balanced toe touches, and mobility work with every single workout because that boring stuff is what's minimizing my chance of injury and increasing my progress. So for me to skip something like dead bugs because I'm too advanced for that, or balanced toe touches, or mobility work because I've been training for years upon years and I don't need that anymore. So if I was to regularly skip that and let my mobility suffer and let my balance suffer, and then suddenly I start getting nagging pains or injuries, that sets me back so far versus spending that 5 to 8 minutes, extra 5 to 8 minutes, warming my body up and connecting with everything so that I can stay strong and healthy, so that I can avoid those injuries or nagging pains, so that I can continue training regularly. I mean, that 5 to 8 minutes is 100% worth it. All right, enough about me. Let's talk about you. How long will you have to do this? Forever. The foundational movements are so darn important, you will practice them forever. They will evolve as you evolve, but mobility, balance, and core stabilization exercises should always be a part of your programming. They're just that important. All right, just what is mobility? Good question. I'm glad you asked. Mobility is strength through a full range of motion. So, for instance, being able to squat to at least 90 degrees with proper form, being able to press weight over your head with proper form. So having the mobility to get the range of motion that gets you to the full into the full movement. So if you're doing a squat, getting at least to 90 degrees, if not lower, with proper form. So your back is straight, your torso is pretty parallel to your shins. You feel your muscles working, right? You're not just dropping into a squat and hanging out at the bottom of it with nothing, with no muscles working. Everything's working as you go through mobility. All right, flexibility is your muscle's ability to lengthen to allow a full range of motion without load. So that would be those stretches where you're doing either static stretches where you're holding something, holding a stretch for 60 seconds. There's no load here. My focus is lengthening my muscle. Or you're doing, your dynamic stretches that you do before your workout, where your focus is on warming up your body, getting blood pumping into your muscles while lengthening things out. That's going to be flexibility. Balance, I think we all know what balance is. Your body's ability to control proper posture through an unstable environment. Example, standing on one foot. When you have all these things dialed in, this allows you to squat, lunge, single leg deadlift, bench press, shoulder press, and do single-sided movements like walk and run in a much safer and more productive manner. If you have ever worked out with me and I have asked you to sink a little lower in your squat, And then suddenly you're feeling all sorts of new muscles firing, or the exercise just feels harder somehow. You know what I mean. Having the mobility to move through a full range of motion gives you a much better workout in the same time frame. If I'm only doing half range of motion squats, I'm not getting nearly as much out of each squat as I am when I do full range of motion squats, right? When do I practice? During your warm up. When warming up, you should be doing so much more than following along mindlessly. We can get there where we're just going through the motions, following along, not really thinking about what we're doing. But your warm up is your time to really start connecting to your muscles, building what's called the mind muscle connection. Feel the muscles that you're stretching. Focus on the muscles that you are priming. Wait, what's priming? Priming is getting muscles ready for a specific movement. For instance, if I'm squatting in my workout, in my warm up or before I hit the weighted squats, I'll do 4 or 5 good, slow, perfect form, focused on good range of motion, body weight squats. I'm thinking about activating my butt, my quads, my inner and outer thighs, and my core. I'm taking it slow, maybe sitting at the bottom of the squat for a few as I really sink into it. This is especially important before you work an exercise where you know you have trouble connecting to the correct muscles. For instance, the deadlift. Oft, Often people have trouble connecting to their glutes. So if that's you, prior to doing deadlifts, do good mornings or glute bridges, really focusing on activating and connecting with your glute muscles. That mind muscle connection is huge and it is a very, very real thing. When you take time to connect your mind to the muscle that you're working, over and over and over. It doesn't happen instantly. Glutes was an example. Chest muscles is another really good example, especially for girls, but oftentimes for guys too. We have trouble connecting to our chest muscles because they just aren't used often. Oftentimes, if you're doing a press or a fly, you can start feeling it here in your shoulders, maybe into your biceps, tricep, but you're not feeling anything in your chest, right? Um, so taking the time to do maybe something like this movement where you're focused on squeezing here and connecting to those muscles, going a little bit lighter on weight when you're doing that bench press so you can really feel those muscles working. That's going to be that mind muscle connection. And it takes time to build the mind muscle connection, especially to muscles that you're having trouble connecting with. But the if you take every opportunity that you can when you're doing a workout to work on that mind muscle connection, you'll get to that connection a lot faster than if you just ignore it and you go through the motions of the exercise, working whatever the heck you're working, right? So spend that time really focusing and trying to connect to the muscle that you are working during the exercise. That also will help you build stronger and bigger muscles too, just by focusing on the squeeze of the muscle that you're working. Activating core stabilizers during your warm up is important as well. When your core stabilizers are active, they're protecting your spine. So, an exercise like dead bug or plank taps, where you're really taking the time to stabilize and feel your muscles engaging, is going to be very important to protecting your body as you go through the exercises that you're going to go through in your workout. Balance is also important during the warm up, whether it's through balanced toe touches, lateral step pulls, or maybe lunges, really waking up all those muscles through your ankles and feet so that they can support you during your workout. When else? When else could you practice these things? You can always work priming through your workout, especially if you're hitting an exercise and not feeling the correct muscle working. Taking time between each set to prime and connect to that muscle will help you activate it during the lift. For example, like I just said, if you're doing something like bench press, but you're not feeling your chest, you're feeling it in your arms and your shoulders, do your bench presses. Take note of that. Sit up on your bench and do some of these squeezes. You can even do them laying down with the focus on feeling the muscles that you should be working. Then get back into your bench press, still focused on those same muscles, and try to connect. If you still are having trouble, repeat the process and continue repeating it that way. You can work those primers into your workouts wherever you specifically need them. After the workout, stretching is typically what we do in the form of static stretching, holding a stretch for 30-ish seconds, trying to sink into the stretch to lengthen the muscles back out. Breathing with stretching, focusing on relaxing into those stretches is going to be really helpful to lengthening your muscles back out. And this is something that I really recommend that you don't skip. When you work out, your muscles get shortened, they get into a shortened state. So the stretching at the end of the workout is there to re-lengthen them back out. So it helps you avoid soreness, as much soreness the next day. And it also helps your muscles stay at an optimal length. So they're not always in that like shortened length. And when your muscles get into a shortened length, they start pulling on your tendons and ligaments, which start pulling on your joints in a weird way, which starts giving you those achy joints, right? So stretching after a workout kind of helps you avoid a lot of those things. All right, throughout the week, you can work in mobility, stretching, balance work anywhere, anytime. You will often find me in the kitchen with my foot on the counter, stretching my hamstrings, or balancing on one foot while working, or sitting in a figure 4 stretch while working. In fact, I'm doing that right now. Anywhere that you can work in mobility, stretching, balance, do it. Just start becoming really aware of your movement and take advantage of times when you can stretch, work on range of motion, or balance. I promise, promise, promise you, you will get so much stronger and advance so much quicker while minimizing your risk of injury just by doing these things. Don't skip them. I know they're boring. I know everybody wants that burn and like wants to get right to the meat of the workout and start sweating and start beating themselves up. But honestly, like it took me a long time to change my mindset as well around this type of an approach because that's how I was too. Once I really started embracing mobility work, once I really started embracing stretching, core stabilization, I started not only seeing, but also feeling a tremendous difference in how I was able to perform inside the gym and also how I was able to just live my life. My balance, my coordination all got a lot better. I felt a lot more confident doing things. I was able to try new movements, new like play type things. I was able to try those for the first time and actually be successful with them because my body was functioning as one whole instead of just being different parts of my body that were being beat up at random times through exercises that were working who knows what in what way, right? So when you really slow it down and you really start taking the time to take care of your body through doing these types of things, you will see and feel a huge difference, and it happens, I feel like, a lot faster than you think that it would, especially if your focus is on I am going to get stronger and I'm going to start having better quality workouts. I'm going to start leading better quality days because I'm moving with less pain. I'm moving with more confidence and I'm doing this for my body instead of approaching it with the fuck, I have to stretch before my workout. Ugh, I have to spend 15 minutes doing this or that, you know. The mindset that you put into what you're doing plays heavily on what you're going to get out of it. So really focus on the good that adding balance, mobility, flexibility, core stabilization exercises into your workout routine and into just your daily life. Focus on the good that that's going to bring to your life. Focus on the good that you want it to bring to your life. All right, that is that. Next week, we're going to go into more exercise training information. I will talk to y'all later.